Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Biz Bites Live. I'm your host, Anthony McMahon, and the purpose of these sessions is to provide an open commentary with a range of business experts, business owners, and business specialists around how technology can help your business grow. My guest today is Steve Hurst from NSP, which is short for Network Services Partners. Welcome, Steve. How you doing?
Hey, Ants, thanks very much. Yeah, I'm good. Network service providers, actually.
Yeah, and we clarified that before we started, and I managed to get it wrong. I apologise. nsp.co.nz. It's very easy to spell, so we won't have to worry too much. Hey, Steve, tell me a little bit about what NSP's been up to over the last 3 weeks.
Hey, so yeah, thanks, Anthony. So look, we've been obviously we've been in lockdown, working from home, but the main activities that we've been doing is supporting our customers in getting them set up for their remote access and making sure that they're fulfilling their business functions as best they can, to a large degree, or to 100%, the largest degree, successfully. What else have we been doing? I guess in my specific role as the commercial manager, I've been talking to a lot of businesses, understanding from them how they have viewed this whole last 3 weeks, how they are working at the moment, what's working, what's not working, and just offering ideas and advice around what businesses should be thinking about in terms of security for their environments and their people while they're working remotely. So nice. It's been quite a busy time, actually.
Excellent. What are some of the challenges that your customers themselves have come to you with? Anything specifically, or has it just sort of been general themes?
Very general themes, but a couple of specific ones are, business owners out there worried that they've got some of their staff that are at home saying that they're working, not necessarily sure that they are actually working, and how do they get visibility of that? So visibility of their old office environment is not what it used to be, obviously.
Yep.
So it's the concern around nefarious behavior and just staff productivity, or workers' productivity, and whether they're actually doing what they say they're doing has been quite a big issue. Licensing, people have been interested to know whether or not they've got the right sort of licensing to suit their new remote setup. So we've worked with a few customers around that and offered them some advice. But yeah, just broadly speaking, it's mostly around visibility and new ways of being efficient in the way that we work. Yeah.
Nice, definitely, and it's a unique situation for many, particularly service providers like yourself, is that not only are you trying to help your clients work remotely, but you're also having to come to grips with that as a business yourself as well. You've probably been working individually remotely, sporadically through the year leading up to this, but suddenly your whole business is decentralized and separated as much as your customers is as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been, from my personal perspective, it's been a really interesting learning curve. So my role in NSP is very much outbound and talking to new business and introducing NSP and what we do to those businesses. And I honestly didn't believe that I'd have the discipline to do the calling and the talking and the prospecting that I needed to do from home. I always thought that I'd need to be in the office to keep that discipline. And in fact, what I've found is the opposite is true. I've actually been far more productive and enjoyed the conversations, and I think had far richer conversations here at home, rather than with me being in at the office. The challenge, the biggest challenge for me has been, it's not just me. When I'm out talking to business, I have a team of people around me, and who are experts in their fields respectively, and so it's not, I can't just reach out to them at the drop of a pin. It's I'll have a conversation, and then I need to get onto a different format and talk to my expert, and then come back and talk to the people that I've been talking to again, or organise just a multi-person video conference call.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it takes a lot of orchestration in that as well. One of the things we take for granted with working in an office or working around other people is that you can visually see straight away whether they're in a position to be distracted or not. Can you walk up and talk to them, or no, actually they're on a phone call, or they've got their headphones in, and I know that's a sign that they're focusing on something else at the moment.
Yep.
You take that visual cue away, and something becomes very hard to know: am I distracting them or am I not? How am I going to how can I approach them, and how do I guess what I'm trying to point there is, because you're not looking at them, you can't actually tell if now's a good time to talk or not, and so you're having that little dance up beforehand around whether or not you can talk to them.
Yeah, absolutely. You totally hear what you're saying. I don't personally have that problem. I just tap them on the virtual shoulder, and they either answer or they don't. But absolutely, it's a whole new level of interaction within a office culture, right? And interpreting the nuances between different people and the different teams and the different personalities that make up an office. It's Friday drinks has been an interesting learning curve, because I get in, I do Friday drinks and I get into them. I think now more than ever they are important, and if you should be partaking in them and showing your face and being a part of the team, but now more than ever they're awkward and difficult because everyone's talking over the top of the other person, and only one person can talk at once, and it's an interesting dynamic, those Friday afternoon drinks.
Definitely. There's a different etiquette to a video conference than to just a group of people sitting around a table talking. And you mentioned it there, that the need to only be one person talking at a time. If you get to a video conference and too many people are talking, from a receiver's end, that third person trying to listen to two people talking, they're not going to hear anything.
They don't hear anything. It's really frustrating, actually. In fact, that's people new to video and video calling and conferencing possibly don't quite understand that, although it becomes very apparent very quickly. It's an easy learning to
definitely. Yeah, and within it as well is the technology challenges. Not everyone's got a good quality microphone. Not everyone's got a good quality camera. Even when they do, those things can play up. You might not have picked up on it before, but you actually had for about 5 seconds your camera started. Your microphone got a bit staticky. There's a good chance my camera is going to do the same very shortly, because it tends to play up for me when I'm live streaming. It's the different technology challenges that come about because everyone has different technology to deliver what they want to do.
Yes, absolutely. And everyone, at the end of the day, everyone is reliant on the connection that you have coming into your home, because that dictates the quality of your entire home office, essentially.
Absolutely.
And I think people had put thought into that previously, but this has been a real life test case scenario that we were all forced into. And I think that out the end of it, if people haven't already, and I know that this is a stupid thing to say because there's a lot of people out there that don't have it, that want it, but people will be looking at getting fibre where they can, if at all possible, I imagine.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think some of the groups I've been in, I've seen people asking questions about Wi-Fi band expanders or Ethernet over power, which comes about. You're getting people commenting on the quality of the network because they've invested in it, versus people who are saying their internet connection's poor, where if you dug deeper, they probably haven't really spent any money on their modem. They're still running on a free one that they got from the telco. there was a post I did yesterday on LinkedIn, which got a lot more engagement than I expected, about some of the challenges that the Mayor of Auckland is having because of his remoteness of his house. He's got no fibre. He's got no bandwidth. He's got no mobile coverage. So he's coming into the office every day. Now, I don't blame him for coming into the office, because if you've got challenges and you've got a job to do, then you've got to work around that. But he's not alone in the fact that he's working remotely and his internet connection is going to be poor.
No, absolutely. There are a lot of people out there that are experiencing that at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. And it's not easy to overcome. There's also something in there, and I hosted a webinar with one of your colleagues yesterday, Alistair Miller, the CISO for NSP, CISO being Chief Information Security Officer. And we talked about a few things in there, particularly the need, something Alistair talked about was the need to, once we return to normal, people come back to the office and bring their devices in, to actually re-secure those devices, because they've been running on networks that may not have the same, or definitely do not have the same grade security as what a corporate office would. So they may have been compromised in some way. And I thought it was a really good point that many companies are going to have to take into consideration. How do you make sure you're not bringing that risk in? I guess that's something what NSP is there to really help with, isn't it?
Absolutely. We have a dedicated security team and network security team. I'm really proud and excited to be a part of it and taking it out, taking our proposition out to market, I guess is the best way to put it. Alistair's a very, very capable man, and quite entertaining as well. He'd hate me to say that, but too bad. So basically, look, we've got Alistair as our CISO that develops all of our strategy and our security proposition. Then we've got our SEAM and our SOC team, and Peter Cartner's in that, along with Alistair and Daniel Pellu and Piers Jordan. And who else is in our security team? That is probably it. But basically, Alistair, we conduct a range of things. We conduct a security assessment, which is all based around a business's perception of their security posture as it stands. And that would probably not necessarily be helpful coming back into your office environment. What you'd probably want to do is get a small audit done of your environment once everyone's back in, to exactly as you just said, uncover any shadow IT that might be sitting on people's devices that have come in through their home office networks, and contain and deal with those. We've got a security assessment that's all based around the perception of your environment. We usually then suggest that based on those perceptions, there's a range of suggestions that will come out, and the beginnings of a roadmap will be developed for people to, work their security posture towards over the coming period of time.
And that was something we touched on a little bit in the webinar, was that as people come back, not just the need to sanitize and secure, but if they've adopted ways of working that they want to keep going with, whether it be a Zoom call, or whether it be a new cloud-based storage system that they find is actually better than what their old one was, or the one they were using was, or even Trello, something as simple as that in coming back in, they don't just start using that without any thought to it. They're actually going to need to plan a little bit how it ties into their policies, how it ties into their rules and regulations.
Yes.
And how they secure it. Zoom being a great example of, you can have a free account with limited controls, or the paid license account with admins and with proper controls set up in place. so that you're securing your organization a lot more. And that's part of that strategy roadmap that people that you talked about there, that people are going to have to think about a lot more coming back to this.
Absolutely, and I think that yeah, you're on the nail, or hit the nail on the head there. You know, a roadmap should be a living document, and now more than ever, people need to, as you say, there's stuff that's going to come out of this last 4 weeks that, without a doubt, works better for businesses than it has done within their actual working environments, and that needs to be thought out and budgeted for and worked into a roadmap to make sure that it's integrated successfully, rather than just money's just chucked at doing whatever you want to set out to do and it fails and falls over. Right now, people can't be chucking money away. It all comes down to planning and strategizing and understanding what you're actually looking to achieve.
Yeah, what you're looking to achieve, what you're looking to commit to, how you get the right license model in place, even because for some of the, so for particularly for Zoom, there are different license structures. As an organization, you will have different requirements to an individual, so it's making sure you understand that, and that's where a strong partnership and a good relationship with your network partner, with your IT partner, becomes very valuable. And I won't say that you should expect your IT partner to know everything about everything, but you should be prepared to at least have a conversation with them, knowing that they will be able to at least find out the answer to the question.
Absolutely, I totally agree. And you know, now more than ever, again, if you'd expect that if your IT partner doesn't have the answers, they would go out of their way to find the answer for you. And if they can't provide the answer, to collaborate with someone that can, in a way that's meaningful and brings you benefit. Because at the end of the day, if your provider is not going to look at strengthening your position, being their customer, they're doing themselves a disservice, and in collaborating and offering you, their customer, a better solution, they're actually enhancing their profile in your eyes, so to speak.
Correct. I know.
Tongue-tied way of putting it across, but do you know what I mean?
Definitely, and it's where I think collaboration is key. I know from the webinar yesterday, one of the comments Alistair made actually got one of the attendees thinking about whether or not that was a service that they were offering their clients. Found out it was available as part of what they did, but they learned something from it, and that's where I think it's really key for IT professionals, IT members of the IT industry. We don't know everything, but we should at least know who to talk to help us answer those questions.
And we shouldn't feel threatened by not knowing stuff as well, because there's no shame in not knowing something. There's shame in not finding out the answer, or not being bothered to go and do the investigation. But if you don't know something, all you're doing by finding out the answer is growing and providing a solution to someone that needs it. So yeah, absolutely.
Correct.
Knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power. There are over 100 different skills in the IT industry. If you broke it down at a skill layer, knowledge is power, but it's not about knowing every one of those skills, because they're diverse from security and strategy and architecture and incident management down to business analysis, requirements gathering, and project management. Shouldn't say down to, because it made it sound like I was putting those on a lower scale, but they're not. They're equal. So they're all up there through to. So all those skills spreading across. No one's going to have all of them, but what's important is that when a question comes up, you know who to go to. You know, for me, if I've got a security-related question, NSP or a company I can turn to, because I know that I'm going to get the right answer from them.
Awesome. Yeah, look, I guess where, you know, if I go back into my past, into my telco days, what I'm good at, because I'm definitely someone that doesn't necessarily know all the answers, but what I can do is I can tie the right people together to provide the right solution, and that's what I'm skilled at doing. So totally collaboration and working with both within your organization with the right stakeholders, but also outside of your organization with the right stakeholders to provide a holistic solution to a customer is definitely the right way to go about it, and actually something I really love doing. So if anyone's interested in talking to me about ideas I've got, I'm more than happy to hear them through. Yeah, absolutely.
Love it. And that's really key. I think as you're talking, the best way I could describe what you do, and I'm in a similar position as well, is an integration point. So thinking about technology, you've got APIs, you've got web services, you've got solutions like Zapier, which act as a way of integrating two systems together. It's kind of that role we're playing as well, as we integrate a solution with a problem.
Yes, absolutely.
Which is great. We're going to wrap up shortly, Steve. So I'm going to put one question to you, and it's quite an open one. I'm not putting you on the spot as a futurist or anything like this, but where do you think we're heading from here? You know, New Zealand has just announced that we're coming into another week of full lockdown, and then less lockdown. Lockdown with KFC, as it was described by one of the politicians. Where do you think we're going from here? What do you think the challenges we're going to face as a society are going to be as people start to head back to a form of reality?
That's really, really deep, man.
Yeah, sorry. I'm going to write some notes as well. Not on this, but something else.
Oh God. Well, I really genuinely don't think that business is going to come out of this and be the same. I mean, to a large extent, everything will be very similar, right? But if business and people don't come out of this and take learnings out of this, then they've got their head in the sand. And the way that we live from now on has changed. And there's no two ways about that. Business is obviously really difficult for a lot of people at the moment. And I genuinely think that the businesses that are going to actually be successful and get through the next 6 months to be able to grow into the new year and beyond are going to be obviously businesses that provide value, provide their clients with real information or real solutions or meaningful content or whatever that looks like for their customers to actually enhance themselves. I've been banging on about it for a while. I strongly think that collaboration is the way forward for New Zealand business. We're all good at some things and we're not so good at other things. Why not provide customers with an overall better experience and have two businesses survive as a result, rather than one go under and one do a piss poor or a half good job of something that they're not so good at, right? So that the customer wins, two businesses win, right? I think that the family unit, for the most part, I know I can only talk from my perspective and my experience, I guess, but I think the family unit is going to come out of this tighter. I know that I've come to appreciate my family a lot more in the last 4 weeks, and just little things, just hanging out in the evening with my wife and my kids and playing hangman, for goodness sake. It's like just seeing the passion in my daughter's eyes for wanting to beat me at hangman is really fun. She hasn't beaten me yet, but that sort of thing. I think that people and business are going to want to run a dispersed model, a remote model, and maybe if not run it now, have the ability to switch it on in a second, which is going to there's going to be a big move to platforms that can support that. So, Office 365 or Google or Azure, that sort of thing is going to come more to the fore now. And businesses are going to have to take the time. And I really encourage, this is something I actually really think that CEOs and directors and partners should do. If they're not already, I think people at that level need to actually really take time to take a step back and understand their IT platform, because obviously a lot of the time that platform is given to the IT manager or the CFO or the operations manager or someone else in the business that knows more or is more interested or can do it better. The directors, the CEOs, the board, they make the decisions. They hold the risk. They need to understand their environments. And I really encourage CEOs, directors, members of the board to really get your heads around what your IT platforms look like and make informed decisions. Because,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I completely agree with what you're saying there. Purely because at the end of the day, accountability stops at that layer. They're accountable for the decisions they make. They can't take a hands-off approach of, we don't know what's happening in our technology, because what we're going to see is, as the laws change, particularly the privacy law here, someone can be held to account if information's leaked because technology is not secured properly. So if they're not investing appropriately in it, it's going to really sting when it comes back to them.
Absolutely. And as you pointed out in your post, and I have a couple of times, November 1 is when those laws come in. So whilst we're not back to normal yet, we absolutely need to be putting the plans in place to make sure that our environments are up to scratch and meet the standards that are going to be expected of them, because it's better to get it in place now than to face the hurt later. Definitely.
And I've actually explored that with a podcast episode recently with Emma Pond, who's a virtual chief privacy officer. So if people watching this, check out www.bizbytes.co.nz and look for the episode with Emma Pond. They'll see that in action as well, and a little bit of the conversation there. So I'm just conscious that you may be getting some aeroplane background noise. The airport, I'm within. And Steve, I know you're just down the road as well. We're within range of the Air Force flight path, so we're getting a little bit of traffic at the moment.
No, I'm all good, Anthony. You enjoy those Hercules.
This one was a Boeing coming in. It was a jet. It was definitely a jet. So, hey, look, Steve, we'll wrap it up there. Really great having a chat with you today. Really enjoyed it. What's the best way for people to get in touch with you if they want to find out more about NSP or look at whether they've got their services in place?
So best way to contact me is LinkedIn, Stephen Hurst, or my mobile number, which I might give to you to send out. I'm not too sure. Or is it kosher to say it on here?
You can if you want to. Bearing in mind this is now on YouTube and Facebook, so
yes, I might do that.
Maybe not do that because
it shows that this is like first time live streaming, doesn't it?
Absolutely. nsp.co.nz is your website though, so people can go there to get in touch with the broader team and with yourself, and obviously as you said through Facebook. Through LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
that's it. And thank you so much. I really enjoyed it. Let's do it again.
No worries. Thanks, Steve. Talk soon.
Okay. See ya.